Hey guys, Doc here. Welcome to Doc's Hobbies and my very first instructional video. This channel is going to be dedicated to all of my various hobbies. Today we're talking about poison frogs and terrariums, and specifically drilling terrariums so that we can drain excess water out. So our goal is to wind up with something like this. Just a nice clean hole so the water can come out and not drain your living room or not flood your living room floor. Before we get started, let's talk about preparation. Now this time I'm going to attempt to drill the bottom of this tank. A lot of times we avoid drilling the bottoms because they're made out of tempered glass. Tempered glass goes through an extra hardening process. It's 4 times stronger than non-tempered glass. Reason being, if you drop a rock or something like that and it hits the bottom, it's going to be less likely to break. But when it does, it explodes. This also makes it very difficult, makes it impossible to drill. Tempered glass cannot be cut, cannot be drilled. So let's talk about how to identify if your glass is tempered. This is a fairly cheap Thrive aquarium. Cheaper aquariums are less likely to have expensive tempered glass. So I'm hoping that just by virtue of being cheap, this is not tempered. There's various ways to figure out if your glass is tempered. You can use polarized glasses and see if there's reflective lines on the surface. But the easiest way is just to see if it's soft or hard glass. So you use your diamond bit here and just scratch the surface of the glass. Scratches pretty easily. Hardened glass shouldn't scratch. Ergo, hopefully this is not tempered glass. If it is, you're all going to see a fun little finale at the end of this. You'll get all the way through the glass until you break the very last molecular bonds, and then the whole sheet will just explode. That's what you see in car windows and things like that when it's just fragmented all the way across. The key to success here is preparation. As with any procedure or project, we want to be set up well ahead of time so that we don't hit any barriers along the way. You're going to start with a diamond bit. Don't cheap out on your diamond bit. This is a Bosch, probably costs about $20. Yes, you can get them for $5 or $6 on Amazon. No, they will not be successful. Also doesn't last forever. You're only going to be able to do about 10 tanks with this. So anytime you're cutting anything, paper, wood, skin, you want to have a sharp blade. Dull blades ruin everything. So you start with a sharp diamond bit. The thicker the glass, actually the easier it is to cut through. Thin, cheap glass like this is more likely to break. And let's just be clear here, even if you do everything perfectly, there's still a chance your glass may break. Even if it's not tempered and you prep and everything, you're still occasionally going to break glass. Again, particularly thin, cheap glass like this, more likely to break. You can get these spring-loaded mandrels. They compress, they go in the center of your bit, and they help you get a start on thick glass. Thin glass like this, it requires too much pressure to depress this thing, and it's just going to fracture your glass immediately. So for cheap thin glass, I mean, we're looking at an 1/8, less than 1/4 of an inch here. This is just going to require too much pressure. Good to have on hand for thicker glass, but we're not using it today. So what we need is a good way to keep our bit from bouncing all around. If you just take this and put it straight on the glass, it's just going to bounce and swirl around, scratch the crap out of your glass, and never bite and never create the hole that you want. So we want to control our bit with a little template. So this template is just good old corrugated plastic like you would use to create a barrier, a substrate barrier or something like that in your terrarium. Good to have on hand anyway. I just took a whole sheet of this and I cut it into maybe 5 or 6 layers, and then used a regular hole saw of the same diameter to create my hole. Don't waste your good diamond bit on this. That's stupid. Another 20 bucks, but you're going to use these things over and over again. But paper dulls blades faster than anything. And this is corrugated, like cardboard plastic. So it's got about 6 layers stacked together, super glued together, and taped on the edges to keep it from falling apart during the project. Then on the bottom, a nice ring of silly putty from the toy store, 99 cents. I'll explain why in a little bit. And then we're going to tape it down with some really nice Gorilla Glue. It's critical that this thing stays in place. You do not want this thing to move. Good glue, good putty, that's the key to success here. So this one here, we're going to put right in our corner, tape it down, and then press our putty down. That putty is going to make a water barrier. One of the ways you can crack your glass is letting it get too hot. That diamond bit will actually just fracture the glass because it gets too hot. So we're just going to pour a little bit of water in here. Mind you, the reason I'm in my laundry room is because we're going to make a mess. So you want to have access to water. You don't want to ruin anything. Doesn't matter if I get broken glass or this dirty water on the floor. You're not going to do this in your living room. I'm not doing this in my good wood shop or my electrical shop. The laundry room is perfect for this. Then, on the inside, we want to capture our fallout. So at the end, you're going to have a little piece of glass that drops out like that. When that falls out, when it breaks the last couple molecules of the bond, that's when your glass can fracture. So you want to keep that from chipping on the inside by just coating the inside with tape. And mind you, if you were doing a side or something like that, that fallout is going to bang into the other glass, potentially fracturing it. So we're just going to line the inside with some good Gorilla Tape to catch that fallout. Okay. So I've got a nice little pool of water. Yes, it's leaking out, that's fine, but I got a nice little pool in there. We have our bit without the mandrel. The torque setting should be all the way down. The last thing you want is for this thing to catch and then be too powerful and just pop the glass out. So you want this torque setting to be as low as possible, so if it catches on something, the bit stops and doesn't keep going through the glass. I have 2 speed settings. I'm on the lower speed setting, but we're going to use all of it. We're going to go just straight in. We're about ready now. So we want to get our bit lined straight up and down in our template. Get it all the way down to the glass, and you can feel it nice and flush on the glass. We're going to go ahead and go right to speed. And as you're going to make very small, very gentle circular movements with the bit to make sure it's making even progress throughout the glass. I'm not pushing. I'm just letting the weight of the drill push through the glass. Every once in a while you want to check it, make sure you haven't gone dry. The water is spilling out a little bit. Let the glass rest, let it cool, refill your well, and keep going. that oscillation in the sound, that means I don't have an even cut. So when I hear it hitting, that's what I want to focus my cut on. Nice even sound now. And we're through. So now, at this point, should be able to just take off my tape on the inside. And have a nice little fallout without too many chips on the edges. Nice clean edges, no fractured glass, and clearly these are not tempered bottoms. Thank God.